Good morning, friends. Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 32 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis, and while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, the longevity products, our true skin health products, a health challenge you or a loved one may be dealing with, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, The Bright Side is here for you. We welcome your calls at 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010. If you have a specific health challenge or if you just have general health questions or a comment or success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010. is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or call 866-735-2470. 866-735-2470. And if you want to sign up to join the Bright Side Ben team, if you're an entrepreneur, if you like the health business, if you want to be in the health business and help change lives at the most basic and fundamental level there is, the level of good health, and you want to work out of your home and you want to write off your home office and your mileage and get your products at the wholesale price, then you want to take a look at the longevity business opportunity. For a one-time $25 fee, you can be in business for yourself. Call 866-735-2470 for more information. 866-735-2470, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. Okay, welcome back to The Bright Side. We are talking about energy and enzymes. The body is a seething cauldron of dynamic chemical reactions that are occurring endlessly and ceaselessly till the moment we die. And it's very deceiving if you look at the body, because it doesn't really look like much is happening. If you just look at your arm, for example, it's hard for us to really grasp mentally this idea of the dynamic nature of the body. Things are moving so fast. It's almost like the way a fan moves really, really fast, and it doesn't look like it's moving at all because the blades are moving so fast. It looks like it's one solid thing. That's kind of how the body is. Things are moving so fast that we don't even know that we're moving so fast. And all that speed and all that dynamism and all that activity and all that energy is controlled, it's regulated. It really is the function of what we call the enzymes. That makes enzymes really, really important. The enzymes carry the life force. The world we live in and the body itself, it looks like it's solid. It looks like it's one thing, but really it's moving. There's no one thing. It's a verb. And the very essence of the verb-like nature of the body, the movement-like nature of the body, is the enzymes. The enzymes are the body's verbs. They're the action molecules. That's why it's so important to make sure you're getting enough enzymes. The enzymes they carry the life force. Without enzymes, no life would happen. It's the enzymes that shuttle the life force throughout the body. They're the carriers of the chi, the life energy, that special, magical, ineffable, unnameable something that makes life work, that makes life active. They are the key players in the life drama. They're the key players in the biological system. Everything else, the vitamins, the minerals, the proteins, the fats, the plant nutrients, they all act to support the enzymes. The enzymes are the star of the show. They're the leading man. They're the George Clooney, the Brad Pitt, the Johnny Depp, whatever you want to, whatever leading man you like. The enzymes are the leading man. All the other nutrients support the enzymes. That's why they work. They support the leading man. We don't really hear that about enzymes very frequently. Yeah, we talk about digestive enzymes and digesting your food, and sometimes wonder what the average person thinks of when they hear the word enzymes, or as some people say, enzymes. The word is enzymes, E-N-Z-Y-M-E-S. They are nothing less than the life force in the body. They're the leading man in the body. That tells you how significant the enzymes are in the body. They are the leading man in the body's biological drama. In terms of our health, obviously then, enzyme deficiencies can be a problem. And enzyme deficiencies occur. And enzyme deficiencies mean a deficiency in the life force. If you have an enzyme deficiency, there's no way it's not going to ultimately show up as a health problem and ultimately as death itself. Death is when the enzymes, there's no more enzyme activity. Enzyme deficiencies can be inborn. You can have genetic enzyme deficiencies, and you can have functional enzyme deficiencies. And the good news about enzymes is you can ingest them. Understanding how to leverage enzymes and enzyme power in the diet and in supplements is a key part of being healthy. Yeah, Longevity's got a great product called the Ultimate Enzymes. We talk about that all the time as a digestive enzyme supplement. But you know, if you listen to this program, I'm always saying, take your enzymes on an empty stomach. Then they'll go to work as enzymes, as metabolic enzymes, as carriers of the life force. They won't be expended on digestion. And in this factoid, we have the secret to the calorie restriction diet. The calorie restriction diet conserves your enzymes. This is why calorie restriction is always shown. Every time they do calorie restriction and compare it to lifespan, it's always shown to increase lifespan because you're saving your enzymes. You're conserving your enzymes. This is why fasting can be very helpful. You're conserving your enzymes. Most of us are expending our enzymes, our enzyme pool throughout the day endlessly. So understanding the power of enzymes and understanding the role enzymes play in the body can be an incredibly valuable part of improving our health and improving our longevity. You got two kinds of enzyme deficiencies. You got the biggies. They call them metabolic enzyme deficiencies, MEDs, anemia, muscle diseases, myopathies. These are metabolic enzyme deficiencies. And then you also have inborn errors of metabolism. The most famous one is PKU. Or one of the most famous ones. If you've ever seen on the side of your Diet Coke, on the bottle, it says, if you have phenylketonuria, contains phenylalanine if you have PKU. PKU is a classic inborn error of metabolism. It's a disease where we don't make enzymes. Enzymes come directly from DNA. And so if you have a switch in the DNA, a mutation, or some kind of defect in the DNA, you're not going to make an enzyme. And there's some diseases that people are born with where you don't make an enzyme, and PKU is one of them. There's another one called glucose 6-phosphatase deficiency. It's G6PD, they call it. That's another inborn error of metabolism. That's a DNA defect that causes you not to make a very important enzyme that's involved in energy production, so people get fatigued really readily. Those are the biggies. Those are the ones where you got to be really, really careful about how you handle your life, and stay away from phenylalanine, which is a byproduct of aspartame and NutraSweet if you have PKU. Just as an example, if you have these inborn errors of metabolism, you got to be really careful about how you live your life. But there's a second way that enzyme deficiencies can show up, and that's subclinically, not in a full-blown disease, but just in feeling crappy, just in getting sick often, or just in, unfortunately, a shorter lifespan. These are not deficiencies in one specific enzyme like the inborn error of metabolism, but these are enzyme deficiencies caused by poor living. And I would venture to say the majority of us are suffering from at least some degree of these subclinical enzyme deficiencies. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll take a commercial break and come right back after this with more good health information. Don't go away. back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we got lots of lines open for you. 844-236-6010. If you have questions about anything we're speaking about here today, or if you have a success story or comment you'd like to share, 844-236-6010 is our number on the bright side. We are on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive pages, or the archive page at brightsideben.com. Also, we got blog posts and news stories at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com, and all the longevity products. And join the team link that you can click on if you want to sign up to join the Brightside Ben team. Please check out our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Our Truth Biomimetic Mineral Mist made with fulvic minerals. Our Truth Retinol 5% gel. Yes, that's right, 5% retinol, along with a big old dose of vitamin C. Our Transdermal C Serum, Transdermal C Balm, and our Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream, and our 2 new Truth Cleansers, our Truth Peppermint Salicylic Cleanser. And I didn't skimp on the peppermint on that one. That one is really pepperminty. And then our high hyaluronic acid honey cleanser are all available at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, so we're talking about the enzymes. We're talking about enzyme deficiencies. There's 2 major types of enzyme deficiencies. You can be born with them. Those are the biggie. Those are the real serious ones. And if you are born with something like phenylketonuria, PKU, or G6PD deficiency, or any of probably 100, maybe more. There's probably hundreds of these kinds of enzyme deficiency diseases: Gaucher's disease, Nieman's Pick disease, lysosomal storage diseases. If you have the poor fortune, the poor luck to have been born with one of these, there's not much you could do. You can definitely, you have to pay attention to what you eat. That's probably the most important thing. Dietary restrictions, like if you have PKU, you can't eat it. You got to be careful with phenylalanine. You can use supplements, and you should use supplements. Everybody should use supplements, but especially if you're dealing with one of these things. But there's really not much your doctor can do. They have this gene therapy thing that they try to do. They'll do a bone marrow transplant, and there's not much you can do. Newborns are screened typically. If you just had a baby, they'll screen you for these kinds of inborn errors of metabolism, they call them. But the subtle issue, which is just as important, at least in terms of life expectancy and quality of life, is these subclinical enzyme deficiencies where you're not missing, or it's not like you can't make a certain enzyme, like with an inborn error of metabolism, but it's just like you're just not making enough, or you're just using up your enzymes. You're burning through your enzymes. If you want an example of how you could burn through your enzymes, think of fever. A fever, the body will go into a fever. It will get warm or hot if you're sick as an effort to activate enzymes. That's why we go to fever. Fever, when there's a little bit of heat, I say a little bit of heat, enzymes vibrate quicker. They're more active under conditions of a little bit of heat. That's what a fever is about. However, if we're chronically running into low-grade fever, or if we're chronically in dynamic activity because we're eating all the time, you'll notice that, well, you won't notice, but you'll likely have a shorter lifespan. And, by the way, if you've ever noticed that sometimes you get hot after you eat certain foods, especially sugar foods, you get really warm, that's a sign that your body is trying to activate more enzymes. That's trying to make the enzymes work more efficiently. Now, if you have too much heat, your enzymes will actually die, and that's one of the reasons why fever can be problematic. But on the other hand, the fact that your body is going into fever in an attempt to make the enzymes work more efficiently or work faster is a reason why you want to let the body go into fever and not just automatically take an aspirin or a Tylenol if you go into fever. Fever is actually your friend because it's activating enzymes. It's making the enzymes move more efficiently. So you got this whole idea of functional enzyme deficiency. It's not like a full-blown enzyme deficiency where you're not making an enzyme because you got a genetic defect, but you just have a functional deficiency where enzymes just aren't functioning as well as they should. This is an idea that was first promoted by a guy named Dr. Edward Howell. Dr. Howell was a medical doctor in the early 20th century. He's considered to be the father of the food enzyme theory. The food enzyme theory says that if you are expending your enzymes on food, you will not be able to use them to fight cancer as effectively, or to live longer, or to repair, or to grow. The food enzyme theory says that the more enzymes you're expending on digestion, the less enzymes you're going to have for metabolism. And the converse, or another aspect of the food enzyme theory, is that you can replace your metabolic enzymes, or you can spare your metabolic enzymes by using food enzymes. Whether you have those, Dr. Howell talked about food enzymes coming from food, but you can get food enzymes supplementally these days. Dr. Howell studied calorie restriction, and he was fascinated by the idea that that fruit flies, that's what they were working on, that's what they still work on, could live a lot longer when they didn't eat as much. And he couldn't figure out why. He was studying why, and he came up with this idea that, quote, duration of life varies inversely with intensity of metabolism, unquote. In other words, the more intense your metabolism, the shorter you live. And in addition, he came up with this idea that the more you're digesting your food, the more enzymes are being expended on digestion, the less are going to be available for metabolism. In the United States, life expectancy has been dropping steadily for the last 3 years. I think it's 3 years now that life expectancy has dropped. And it's very likely that it has something to do with the fact that we're burning through our enzymes. Number one, we're not replacing them because we're not eating correctly. And number two, the intensity of our metabolism has increased because of our fast-paced 21st century lifestyle. Not to mention our stress. The combination of this fast-paced lifestyle that burns through our enzymes, or causes us to burn through our enzymes, plus duress, emotional duress and stress, plus nutritional deficiencies, plus subsisting on enzyme-less food, has got to have some role to play. If you buy into this food enzyme theory concept, has got to have a huge role to play in this distressing and disturbing drop for the first time in the history, in American history, in our longevity. According to Howell, the pancreas, which is your main enzyme-producing organ in the body, is the pancreas. That's important. That's an important point right there, because the pancreas is way burdened by a sugar intake, and it's very likely that the more sugar you're burning through, the more load you put on the pancreas, the less efficient it's going to be at making metabolic enzymes. Yet another reason to restrict your intake of these enzyme-requiring sugars and carbohydrates. Anyway, Howell says, quote, the pancreas must steal, beg, and borrow enzymes stored in the whole body to make the enzyme complex to digest food. That means that under conditions of metabolic distress, under conditions of metabolic deficiencies in enzymes, you're not going to have enough to digest your food. Under deficiencies of food enzymes, you're not going to have enough to, the pancreas is going to have to steal enzymes from the rest of the body. So when we eat food that's deficient in enzymes, whether it's processed food or cooked food, the pancreas doesn't have the enzymes it needs for digestion. It begs, borrows, and steals it from our metabolism, shortening our lifespan, and increases the likelihood of us getting sick on the way to a shortened lifespan. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll take a commercial break and be back. Okay, we are back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we have lines open for you. Lots of lines open at 844-236-6010. If you have questions about anything we're speaking about here today, or a health challenge that you or a loved one would like help with, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do all that. 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. All right, got a couple stories here I want to read, and then we will get to your phone calls at 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. This is from the Washington Post. Fructans, not gluten, might be the cause of a wheat sensitivity. Fructans are sugars. They're part of what's called They're part of they're starches, actually. You got three major types of fructans. Fructooligosaccharides, the FOS that you probably heard of. FOS is important for helping bacteria grow and implant in the intestine. Inulin is a fiber. Most of these fructans are fibers. Fructan fibers are notoriously difficult for people to digest. And you may think you have a gluten intolerance, or you may just go, I'm gluten-free, but I still have arthritis. I'm gluten-free, but I still have a digestive problem. I'm gluten-free, but I still have a skin problem like eczema or psoriasis. It might not be the gluten. I've been saying this for years. We go into these simplistic kinds of formulas. We love to designate these dietary devils, as it says here in the Washington Post. MSG, gluten, carbs, fat. And so gluten gets a lot of the blame, and we're all gluten intolerant, and people are eating their gluten intolerant bread and drinking gluten-free bread and gluten-free brownies and gluten-free beer and gluten-free pizza, and still having digestive problems and skin problems and immune system problems and asthma. And they're like, I'm gluten-free. What's the problem? Well, it might not be the gluten. It might very well be the fructans, or the oligosaccharides, or the inulins, the FODMAPs. These sugars that bacteria love, especially the wrong bacteria, when these sugars are eaten out of balance. This is the problem with fruit juice, by the way. Fruit juice feeds these bacteria. In fact, fruit in general is a big problem, even though fruit does contain, obviously, some really good nutrients. These days, fruit are bred to be super duper sweet. Honey also is a source of these fructans. Oats, barley, artichokes, asparagus, onions, garlic. All of these are, even lettuce. You can have a problem with lettuce. I've said this so many times, and it's so important to recognize, because we get into this simplistic idea that I'm gluten-free, I'm just eating organic. I have people tell me, I only eat organic, and I can't explain why I have this rash. Listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. If you have a skin problem, you have a digestive problem, with rare exceptions that are topical. In fact, if you have any kind of immune or inflammatory problem, you have a blood problem, which means you have a digestive problem, unless you're sticking things in through your skin IV. If you're an IV drug user, then you're going to suffer from a lot of the same problems that people have to eat foods to get. But aside from IV drug users who are injecting things directly in the blood, the only way blood can become contaminated to cause these kinds of inflammatory problems is through food, period. And it doesn't matter if you're gluten-free. But I don't have any digestive problems, Ben. Yes, you do. You just don't know it. Because where there's smoke, there's fire. You can't say, oh, there's smoke, but there's no fire here. I know I don't have a fire because I'm gluten-free. But you got smoke. That means there's a fire. The eczema is the smoke. The rash is the smoke. The psoriasis is the smoke. The hives are the smoke. If there's smoke, there's fire, again, with rare exceptions, such as topical. You can get a rare topical. Rarely this occurs. They call it contact dermatitis because you're contacting something. But if you have a skin condition, you got a blood condition. If you have any immune condition, you have a blood condition. If you have a blood condition, unless you're injecting something in through the skin, you have a digestive issue, period. And autoimmunity is the classic example. I did a talk yesterday, and a gal she had lupus, a smart lady, tragic, 61 years old, and she had lupus. And of course, in addition to lupus, she had hypothyroidism. And in addition to hypothyroidism, she had scleroderma. They just diagnosed these things and they named them. Basically, she had one problem. Her body was attacking itself. The body attacks itself in terms of autoimmunity when the blood is contaminated. The blood is only contaminated through digestive and food intolerances, unless, of course, you're injecting something through the skin. All right, from the Journal of Fisheries Science, association of zinc with connective tissue in the digestive tract of common carp. Now, this is fish, and yes, it's true, but there's reason to believe, and it makes perfect sense, that this would also have to do with humans. The connective tissue in the digestive system is what keeps the intestine separated from the blood. The digestive tube is a tube, and it keeps the the contents of the food separated from the blood. The blood is on the other side of the intestine. And how the nutrients go from the intestine into the blood so they can be delivered to the system is a very tightly regulated process. So nutrients are digested, food is digested, nutrients are released, your hamburger turns into amino acids and fatty acids and carbohydrates and vitamins and minerals, etc. No hamburger is supposed to go in the blood, just the tiny components, the amino acids, etc. And so anyway, so it gets all digested into its little pieces, and then the amino acids are transferred, very controlled in a very regulated fashion into the blood. And the B vitamins, and the the fatty acids, and the carbohydrates. All of these things are transmitted into the blood very carefully. Over time, as nutritional deficiencies kick in, as the accumulation of inflammation from inflammatory foods, especially gluten and fructan and these foods that we talk about as being digestive system problems, kick in, the digestive tract, the alimentary canal, the intestine becomes inflamed. When it becomes inflamed, little gaps appear, and foods are no longer digested correctly, and instead of going into the blood carefully, they just leak into the blood. You've all heard the term leaky gut. That's what a leaky gut is. It's a defect, a breakdown in the connective tissue of the gut, of the intestine, following attack and nutritional deficiency. There are nutrients you can take to build the connective tissue in the gut, and these are the same nutrients that you want to take if you have arthritis. Yes, arthritis supplements will help your digestive system, and because they help your digestive system, they will help you if you have autoimmune disease. Building the connective tissue is critical for anybody who's interested in reversing the signs of all chronic degenerative disease, not just the ones that are blatantly about the connective tissue because of this whole leaky gut phenomena. It turns out that zinc is incredibly important for building connective tissue. Zinc is one of the most, maybe the most important connective tissue building mineral, and zinc deficiencies are very common. Zinc is a major enzyme activator, and that's a whole other subject we're going to talk about here in the coming days, about the notion of minerals as enzyme activators. You want zinc picolinate, Picolinate, zinc picolinate, 50 milligrams a day, or use my collagen recovery complex or our blemish repair complex, which will get you zinc. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're coming back with your phone calls. 844-236-6010 is our number. Right after this, don't go away. On the bright side, and I am Pharmacist Ben. Time to hit the phones. 844-236-6010 is our number on the bright side. Got lots of lines open for you. 844-236-6010. If you have questions about enzymes or energy or success story you'd like to share, or the longevity products, longevity business, excuse me, our Truth Skin Health products, ingredients or formulations, 844-236-6010 is our number on the bright side. Let's go to New York and say good morning to Mike. Welcome to the bright side, Mike. What's up?
Yes, hello again. I've called, I think, a couple times before. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for calling again. What's going on?
All right. Again, I appreciate your knowledge. I find it so interesting. I can call you and ask you and get great information, but if I need a specialist at the doctor, it takes like 2 months. I'm going to have to pay out of my insurance, and I'm still not going to get help.
And you're not going to get better.
Right. So thanks again. Also,
well, but here's the thing, Mike. Here's the deal. I don't really tell you what to do. I tell you the mechanisms and why things work. You take the ball and run with it. So give yourself some credit. You're right?
Well,
I'm not about... I don't like ever instructing people, take this, take that. I'll make suggestions, of course. But basically, it's about understanding the mechanisms. This is what biochemists talk about. Mechanisms. Doctors don't talk about mechanisms. Once you understand the mechanism, you can take the ball and run with it. And I can tell by talking to you, you're a smart guy. I know you've probably done it already, and you're probably helping other people. So what's going on today? How can I help you?
All right. I have a question about, I guess, muscle and bone. So I've told you I had Crohn's disease in the past, and so I was a heavy kid, fat kid growing up, got to 300, lost a little weight, but then the symptoms kicked in. Eventually, I got down to like 126. I had a bowel resection. That helped a little bit. Was able to gain weight. But I guess the issue now is I feel like I do have some like loose skin from being really heavy, and but it feels like my bones, it feels like the skin is just on top of my bones. Like I have a hard time sitting down.
You're not absorbing nutrients, Mike. Mike, you're malnourished. What part of did they take the small intestine out? Part of the small intestine?
Yeah, it was the ileus.
Yeah. The ileum.
The ileum, right.
Yeah,
it was like 2 feet.
2 feet of ileum they took out?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are going to run into serious, how old are you, by the way?
35.
Okay, so you're going to run into serious malnutrition, especially around building nutrients. The ileum is where your vitamin B12 is absorbed. It's where bile and lipids are absorbed. That's fats. Your fatty nutrients, vitamins D, E, A, and K. You're building. The fatty nutrients are for building, and you're missing those. Vitamin B12 turns everything on. So you're going to run into some serious nutritional deficiencies that are going to get worse as you get older. So it's really important. Absorption, correct.
Okay.
Now you may have other things too going on, but just let's restrict it to what we're talking to the ileum and the bowel resection.
Okay.
And all that. Now here's another issue. Before you had the bowel resection, presumably you had a digestive problem, so you were already having issues. So your toxicity was getting into the blood. You didn't correct any of that stuff. So you may have done the bowel resection. You may feel a little bit better, but you're still going to have You're still going to have issues, whatever the issues were that caused the digestive problem in the first place. You still have those.
Right.
So you got multiple things going on. The fastest way to get better is to start doing liquid nutrients, and that means liquid fats too. You might want to look for water-soluble fats. They make water-soluble vitamin A, water-soluble vitamin E. You might want to make sure that you're taking digestive enzymes and apple cider vinegar to support digestion at the level of the stomach. Liquid protein, bone soup, your beyond tangy tangerine, digestive enzymes, bile salts, probiotics. You want to focus on the intestine and absorption. That's what I would be doing.
Fat soluble. You said water soluble vitamins.
Water soluble fats. They take the vitamin A. Use water soluble fatty vitamins, I should say, and also use MCTs. Okay. MCTs will get you some fat action with some water solubility because the MCTs are a little bit water soluble. You might want to get a supplement called butyrate, Butyrate, butyrate. Get that on the internet. I'd be focusing on fats and the absorption of nutrients and fatty vitamins. There's more. You definitely have more things to work on, but eating less food, reducing the load on the intestine, and making sure you're eating more nutrient-dense food, particularly liquid nutrient-dense foods. Excuse me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yes.
Yeah, and do some research. You sound like a smart guy. So start doing research on the ileum. Start doing research on bile salts and fats and fatty vitamins. Start doing some research on vitamin B12. Start doing some research on enzymes. Become a researcher. You know what? You can pay it forward. It's going to help you, and then you can help other people.
Okay, awesome. Okay? That was great. Yes.
All right, good deal. Take care. Good luck with everything,
Mike. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye. All right, let's go to Melissa in California. Good morning, Melissa. What's up?
Good morning, Ben. I echo exactly what the previous caller said in terms of such a blessing to be able to call you. And I've called in a couple times also on various things. But I'm calling today about my 50-year-old sister who's postmenopausal, who went in for a pelvic exam because she was all of a sudden bleeding. And they found an endometrial polyp. And then they also found on the right ovary a polyp. They're calling it perhaps a dermoid. So they want to go in and take out that right ovary and then obviously remove the polyp. My question is, what's the likelihood of these polyps continuing to return?
They will totally continue to return. They won't keep coming back. The problem is in the estrogen. Now, here's the issue. Estrogen diminishes after menopause, as you probably are aware. Yep. Nonetheless, compared to progesterone, it's still not diminishing enough because as long as you have body fat, you're going to make estrogen. And even worse, when we don't process estrogen correctly, very toxic forms of estrogen can accumulate. And it's these toxic forms. We talked about this a few months ago, how estrogen has to be broken down and eliminated. But if it's not broken down completely, very potent forms of estrogen can accumulate. And this can be made worse by xenoestrogens, whether xeno meaning foreign, out of the body estrogens, whether they're coming in from pesticides and plastics and preservatives and all the other crap in our environment, or whether these xenoestrogens are coming in through the birth control pill or through hormone replacement therapy. So the bad guy here is estrogen, probably compounded by insulin, by the blood sugar metabolizing hormone insulin, and that's the two areas I'd be working on. Get her on progesterone cream, pregnenolone, essential fatty acids, keep her sugar down, and most importantly, you've got to have her, or she has to be focusing on the digestive system and the elimination of estrogen. Estrogen is eliminated through bile and through the intestines, bowel movements. So using fiber, magnesium, even vitamin C to improve bowel movements, staying away from problem foods, using bile salts and the precursors to bile, especially lecithin granules, digestive enzymes with all of her meals, fermented foods, and then also the aforementioned progesterone cream, vitamin E and vitamin A can both be helpful. If she's a high cortisol producer, which is very likely she is, using relaxation strategies can also be helpful. Those are the areas that you want to focus on. She may need, is she uncomfortable? Is it hurt?
Yeah, it is starting to affect her lower back. She is in quite a bit of pain.
She may need to have a surgical procedure.
And they did do a biopsy, and it was non-cancerous, but I think that they feel that you obviously have to go in and remove this polyp, correct? And right. I guess, would you take the right ovary out as well, because it does have that dermoid on it?
No, I wouldn't take any organs out unless you absolutely had no other option. All the organs are important. You don't have spares in there. So I would be very.
So just keep the left and remove the.
No, but here's the issue, though. Here's the issue, here's the thing, Melissa. If she doesn't change her life, then she might as well just participate with whatever the doctors are telling her to do, because she's going to get them back. But you can't not do the doctors what the doctor's suggesting and then continue to live your life, because it's going to kill her eventually. So she needs to change her life in addition to having the surgical procedure, because if she doesn't, she might as well just do everything the doctor says and have the ovaries taken out, maybe even a complete hysterectomy, because you don't want to have these kinds of growths occurring. Even though it's not cancerous, it could eventually be so. So it sounds like she's had some problems. These kinds of issues don't just spontaneously appear. So it sounds like she's had some issues her whole life, or she's on medication. Is she on the pill or hormone replacement?
No pill.
Okay. So she must have had either menstrual problems or reproductive problems or something going on. These kinds of things don't just appear. So anyway, we're out of time. Focus on fats, fatty vitamins, essential fatty acids, and estrogen clearance, and then also balancing out estrogen with pregnenolone and progesterone. Hope I helped you out. Thank you so much.
Thanks so
and don't
much.
forget blood sugar. Keep the blood sugar stable, too. Thanks for your call, Melissa. And thank you to everyone. I appreciate all you guys. Please check out our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for the longevity products, and truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com for all our Truth Skin Health products. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.